Guys, one thing to understand is, and the reason I'm talking about this is because I've had a lot of individuals that have come to me for rehab or for training, and they've had experience with cortisone shots, where the goal was to take the cortisone shot to be able to address some issue. Like that's essentially how it's presented. Is the cortisone shot is going to help present an issue. It's going to allow you to return to play. So first thing is to understand that what a cortisone shot does is it suppresses the immune system, and it's supposed to suppress the inflammatory response, right? That is the goal of, that is specifically what a cortisone shot is supposed to do. When you're getting it externally from something else, it is not your body producing that response. It's you're getting from something that you're getting it from somewhere else. And so it's like a non-native signal to hey, let's reduce or suppress this inflammatory response that's presenting so that you can go do something that you're not supposed to do. Because that's the reason that the inflammatory response or the pain response or whatever is there in the first place is because you're putting your body in a position in which it's not prepared to handle what it is that you're asking it to do, right? So, I guess what I want to just talk about here is understanding what's actually happening. If instead of looking for the cortisone shot to handle the issue, if we can instead of that start to look at how can we put your body in a position where it no longer has the need to present the inflammatory response. And I know that when you're in the mud on it, when you're in the weeds on it, and your arm's been bugging you for 6 weeks, or your back's been bugging you for 2 years, or your shoulder's been messed up and you need to be able to throw in 2 weeks, or you need to be able to sprint for the combine that you're going to, or whatever it is, right? I know that when you're in the mud, it's I'm just trying to pull and find and figure out some little thing that can help get me to this next point to where then I'll deal with it later, right? Which, okay, if sometimes once in a while you're in a position where that's the case, where it's you have a championship game in 3 days and your arm or your knee or whatever feels terrible and you need to take something to be able to do that, okay. But in most cases, what we want to do is actually understand that. Just simply understanding that a cortisone shot is actually doing nothing to change the actual environment. It's changing the environment of your body, but it's not going to be a change that will allow you to consistently create a different environment within your body, because you're not learning how to do it, you're getting from something else. And so what we want to be able to do instead, again, this is my perspective, you can do whatever you want, but from my perspective, never gotten a cortisone shot. What I would want to be able to do is be able to put myself, feel whatever it is that I'm feeling, feel whatever the sensation is, and then put myself in a position where that doesn't have the need to present, because there is a way for us to put ourselves in a position where that doesn't have the need to present. And so that means if there's something that's having pain, or if there's something that's having some level of restriction, it's okay, what did we ask ourselves to do that we weren't prepared to handle? And how do we work back from that and actually rehab it to the point where your body understands it no longer has that need to present the inflammation, to present the pain, because it's actually healed and recovered and it's good to go, right? So it's the difference between being able to figure out, because long term, what I'm looking at wanting to be able to do, or looking at actually doing, is you or me being able to understand our system, understand our body, understand ourselves well enough to be able to create the environment within ourselves that allows for best performance externally, right? If we continually look at these other things to pull in, or we're looking at continually using these other things that actually take away your ability to address that, if I go and get a cortisone shot for something, that actually takes away my ability to learn how to address that, right? If we continually do those things, then we're not going to be able to understand and utilize how our system works. So if we look at this, if we do our best to look at this from a longer term perspective, where it's there's a possibility, there's a scenario where I can understand my body well enough, I can understand myself well enough to actually create the environment that I want to have, to where my body feels good and is able to perform well, and I don't have the need to present inflammation or pain or whatever, and I don't have the need to even look at a cortisone shot. If we look at that as a possibility, all these little blips that might pop up along the way of there's 5 days where my knee didn't feel perfect. There's 3 days where my elbow didn't feel perfect. There's a 1 month stretch where I had something going on the left side of my back. All of those little blips along that process are things are presenting as something that we can use to learn to better understand how our body works and to better understand how we can manipulate it to be able to get it to work more efficiently, to be able to get it to work better, and so that those things don't present further on down the line. But if we outsource our solutions to those things, then we're never ever actually able to learn how to make those changes ourselves and how to create those changes within ourselves. So it definitely is asking for like a longer term thought process of not just like, what is the thing that I can do tomorrow that's going to help me feel better for a couple days or a couple weeks. It's more of the longer term thought process. But I also think it's the education of it, where like if I go to a doctor, I go to whoever, and they're like, well, let's do a cortisone shot. They're not telling you why you're doing the cortisone shot. It's just like, this is something that they have on the list that they can choose from. It's like, okay, they have pain, try this, hasn't worked, let's try to do the cortisone shot, because like that's the thing that it says here to do. But it's like a misunderstanding of, we're not actually handling any issue there, and we're not giving you more power, more control, more freedom of your own system by outsourcing that. So again, like I can do what I want, you guys can do what you want. Like, everyone has their power of choice, and that's very important. But I do want to present the viewpoint of understanding what a cortisone shot is, and also understand that there's an alternate possibility, there's an alternate reality where you could actually understand and control, be able to utilize your system well enough to where you could put yourself in positions to not ever actually be